Hey guys, this is Chicken Chaser here, my first YouTube video for you guys. I stream regularly on Twitch, but this is the first time I'm doing a video just for YouTube. One of the questions that I get frequently asked during streams is how to organize your Plugy Stash, or it could just be my viewers begging me to actually organize my Plugy Stash. So eventually I did decide to organize it, and I thought I would give you guys an idea of how that works. I think that it's going to help anybody that is trying to start a Holy Grail to be able to keep everything organized and be able to find everything that you need and quickly. This isn't the best way or the perfect way maybe, but it's the way that I've found to do it, and I think that it's a good starting point for anybody. I'm also open to any tips or suggestions that anybody might have. I'm also going to link a Google Doc below the video that'll have all of this summarized for you so that you can just access it and see it easily. So with all that said, let's jump into the actual organization. When you open up your stash in Plugy, you're going to see your personal stash for each character and your shared stash. I like to keep all of my Holy Grail items and anything that could be used across multiple characters in the shared stash. There's a lot of different schools of thought on that, but that's just how I do it. So before I start going into the actual organization, there's a few things that you want to know about Plugy. The first thing is that the stash is infinite. So you might be thinking, why am I skipping 25 pages in my organization? Or why am I skipping 100 pages in my organization? It's just because it's easier to do everything on orders of 10. So page 10, page 20, page 30 is where this particular thing starts. And since the stash is infinite, it doesn't really matter if you're skipping pages or leaving things behind. The next thing is that in Plugy 11.01, they added some commands that are really useful. So the first thing is the rename page command, which is just like this, rename page, and then rename to whatever you want it to be. So I'll just change this page to chicken 1. Okay. The next part is if you bring up that message window again and press the down arrow, it's going to bring one of your last commands up, and you'll be able to delete and rename things quickly. So I'll just name this back to Amazon 1. Alright, the next thing is there's a command for inserting pages, and that will just insert a page. And there's also a command for deleting pages. So you want to be careful using those. I really don't use the insert and delete page very much, and if you use this stash organization video, you're not going to really need to use it. So let's go ahead and look at how I have everything organized. So the first 7 pages are class-specific items, 1 page per each class. You'll notice that I still kept the actual page number after each name. Amazon 1, Assassin 2, that's page 2 of the shared stash, Barbarian, Paladin, Druid, Necromancer, Sorceress. I haven't gotten very far in my Grail yet, so you'll notice I'm missing a lot of items still. So that's pages 1 through 7, class-specific items. Then starting on page 10, there's 1 page for each rune. Now you don't necessarily need to keep this many runes for each one, but I figure it's an infinite stash, so I might as well just have 1 page dedicated to each rune. So they go in order. And then once you get into some of the higher runes, I just consolidated some of the pages. So you have Mal, Ist, and Gol all on 1 page, Vex, Ohm, Low on 1 page. And if any of you guys fill up your pages with Ohms or Lows, just let me know, because that'd be pretty insane. Sur and Burr on 1 page, Jaw, Cham, and Zod on 1 page. So that's just a quick way you'll be able to access your runes really fast. Starting on page 36 through 42, I have 1 page for each type of gem. Again, this is early goings in my Holy Grail, so I don't have a crazy amount of gems, but I have 1 page for each gem. organized. Starting on page 50, I'm saving bases. Okay, you can do this in any way that you want. Maybe you want to save armor bases on one page, and then you can save weapon bases on the next page. You don't necessarily need to keep a ton of these, but you can always do it, and I have mine on page 50. Starting on page 100, I have my set items. There's one page for every set, and I go filling up the pages as I go, finding each Grail item. So there's just one page for each set. Okay, now into the real nitty-gritty is all of your Grail finds. So starting on page 200, I have all of my normal unique armors. And so page 1, you have armor. Page 2, you have gloves. Page 202, you have boots. Page 203, you have belts, shields, helms, and that's it. And we also have our normal unique weapons starting on page 210. And so for these, I have one page for each type of weapon. So bows, crossbows, two-handed axes, one-handed axe, daggers, one-handed mace, two-handed mace, polearms, scepters, spears, staves, one-handed swords, two-handed swords, wands, and then throwing weapons. I don't have any normal throwing weapons. Now the benefit for doing this is that on page 324, when we get into our exceptional uniques, I know that I'm going to also have my exceptional unique throwing weapons. So this is going to be the same for every single category: normal, exceptional, and elite. So if we go to page 300, you'll see my exceptional armors. And it follows the same organization: gloves, boots, belts, shields, helms. And this will be exactly the same. Oh, my Jalal's mane is hanging out here. I could put that back on my class specific tab for Druid. There you go. So, yeah, and then on page 310, you'll start with your exceptional unique weapons. And then jumping to page 400 is where you would have your elite unique armors. I don't have any at the moment, but I know that this is the exact spot that they would go. Gloves on page 401, boots, page 402, and so forth. And then when you start on page 410, that's your elite weapons. So I have a few of those. Okay. The next thing that you're going to look at is page 500, is where I'm keeping my amulets. Okay, I'm keeping rare amulets and unique amulets. 501 is unique rings and rare rings of note that I've been finding. Okay, charms, starting on page 502. You guys can see how awesome my luck has been on finding skillers so far in the Grail. Curses, war cries, and defensive auras. How about that? And the Skeed's Grand Charm here. So, on page 510 is where I would be keeping magic jewels, if I had any that I wanted to hold on to. And then facets start on page 520, which I have 2 poison facets, but you would have one page for each type of facet. So 520, you could put cold, 21 fire, 22 lightning, 23 poison. The next thing that you would want to be able to do, and I haven't set up any sort of organization, so this is kind of where we jump off and you can do whatever you would want to do with it. So on page 600, you might want to put crafting materials that you're saving. On page 700, you might want to put rune words, but that's completely up to you. This video is mainly meant to be a starting point for you to organize your Plugy Stash, and once you do that, you're going to be able to find everything, and everything's going to be in its place, and you'll know exactly what's on your grail. So that is just about it. If you like this video, make sure to like and share, and I would love to get messages or comments about how you guys have organized your Plugy Stash. So see you next time in the next video or Twitch stream. Have a good night, guys.